So you're looking for a new horror board game? Well, here are 10 for you guys to check out. Real quick, because there are tons of zombie board games out there, I only wanted to include 2 on my list. But if you guys have a favorite zombie board game or another horror board game that I did not mention in this list, let me know down in the comment section below. I would love to hear about your guys' favorite games. Now with that out of the way, let's just jump right into the video. So first off, I just want to give my honorable mentions to a couple of these games that did not quite make the list. First off being Zombie Dice. This is a fun, quick, push-your-luck dice game where you are playing as zombies trying to collect brains. The first person to collect 13 brains wins the game. But be careful because some dice have more shotguns than others. It's super fun, super fast, and easy to play. I do recommend it for anyone looking for a quick little dice game. Another honorable mention on my list is The Hunger by Richard Garfield. I have not had a chance to play this game yet. I have seen reviews and I have seen gameplay and it looks like it's really good, but because I have not played that game yet, I cannot include it on this list. So first on the list, I'm going to be talking about Betrayal House on the Hill. It's probably in most people's top 10 horror board games of all time, and that's for a reason. It's a really good board game and it really fits the horror theme. It's a game where you and your friends are exploring a haunted mansion until a haunt has been revealed. Before the haunt is revealed, you want to explore the house as much as possible and increase your stats as much as you can to get ready for the haunt. There's omens, items, and events that can happen during the game. This will make the game different each time you play, also depending on how the house tiles come out. There's also a hidden traitor when the haunt has been revealed. This will include one of the players to be part of the haunt itself. The haunt can actually be many different things. It could be ghosts, demons, or monsters. Some haunts are more difficult than others, so there's a balancing factor in the game where some games can be harder to win than others. Overall, I think the game is super fun and I really have a fun time playing it. There's also a legacy version of this game if you want a game that can change as you play. Moving on, I have Dead of Winter. It plays 2 to 5 players and it's a co-op zombie survival game. There's also a hidden betrayal mechanic, if you choose to play that way. Personally, for me, if this is going to be the first time playing it, I recommend not playing with the traitor mechanic. Each player is trying to survive a zombie apocalypse in a colony during winter. During the game, you are trying to make decisions for the colony, and there's going to be events that happen where you have to deal with certain things and need to kill off certain characters. You need to go to the city where there's schools, hospitals, stores, and try not to make any noise. Out of all the zombie survival games out there, I have a lot of fun playing this one. I like the theme, how it's wintertime, and that just adds to the challenge of trying to survive during a zombie apocalypse. You can get frostbite, you can play as a dog character, it's kind of silly. It's really fun to play if you give it a shot. I highly recommend, if you get used to this game, to add that traitor mechanic into it. It would add a whole new level of difficulty to the game. Now next on my list, I have a game that might not seem like a horror game, but trust me, you have to play it with the lights out, and that itself can be very scary, especially if you add scary music. Anyways, that game is called Shadow in the Forest. Now this is a 1 versus many hidden movement game where players are trying to hide from the lantern that one player controls. The players are playing as shadowlings, creatures that are hiding in a forest. There's these little trees on the board that the shadowling creatures that the player plays as can hide behind, and if a light touches them at all, then they are frozen for the game. It's really fun and great for families, and it's for ages 8 and up. Now moving on to an actual horror board game, we got Arkham Horror, the card game. Now this is actually only a 2-player game unless you have more than 1 copy of the game and if you add a few more expansions. Players are playing as investigators and each of them have their own hidden past that will come into effect in the game. There are different scenarios that make up a campaign that you are trying to play through and you must investigate the clues in order to win the game. You must be careful because the more you dive into Arkham, the more you can go insane. If you're into the whole Arkham universe, I highly recommend to pick this game up. Or if you like investigation games, I highly recommend you check this one out. If you guys enjoying this video, can you guys do me a favor and absolutely destroy that like button? It really helps this channel grow. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because I do videos like this all the time. Now back to the video. Now moving on to Mansion of Madness. Now I wanted to mention this one because it's important to note that you want to get the 2nd edition. The rules are much more clear and easier to understand. Now this is an app-driven board game, so be warned if you're not into that because it can really feel like a video game at times, but gameplay wise, it is pretty fun. This is a fully cooperative game that plays 1 to 5 players and in about 3 hours. There are 4 scenarios of fear and mystery. You must collect weapons, tools, and information, solve complex puzzles, and you are fighting monsters, insanity, and death. Now with this being an app-driven game, it adds a whole new level of fear to the gameplay. Now next up, I have another zombie game, and that's probably on most people's horror board game list, Zombicide Black Plague. Now there's a bunch of different Zombicide games out there, but Black Plague is the one that stands out above the rest. It plays 1 to 6 players and is published by Command Games. This is a dungeon crawl game where the zombie apocalypse is taking place in a medieval setting. Each character in the game has their own unique abilities. There are many different characters you can play as, from being a dwarf to a knight. In Black Plague, there should be a character for you. You're trying to complete missions and defeat zombies. Depending on the zombie in the game depends on how to kill it. If you're looking for a new zombie survival apocalypse game and you haven't heard of Zombicide before, I highly recommend to check this one out. It's going to be a lot of fun to play, especially if you like dungeon crawl games. Now I have Fury of Dracula. This is a hidden movement game where you are trying to hunt down and kill Dracula. One player is playing as Dracula and the rest are playing as the hunters. There are 2 sets of phases in the game, day and night, and the game plays throughout the week, Monday through Sunday. It plays 2 to 5 players and plays roughly in about 90 minutes. Now in this game, the player that's playing as Dracula is trying to gain influence, and the other hunters are trying to stop him before he gains enough. However, if Dracula makes a mistake and goes somewhere where he's not supposed to, this really ruins the whole game. Players are trying to figure out where he is in order to kill him. So if Dracula doesn't realize his mistake early, then there's no way that the players can win. Overall, it is a good game, but I wanted to mention that because it does have some flaws. Now, if you ever wanted to play a Friday the 13th game, I highly recommend my next game called The Last Friday. Now this is pretty much a better version, in my opinion, of Fury of Dracula. This is also a 1 versus many hidden movement game. Each game is played in chapters, and there's a total of 4 chapters. Or players may decide they might want to play through all 4 chapters in one game. Each chapter in the game has different win conditions for the players. Pretty much the player that's playing as the murderer has the same goal in each chapter, to kill all the players. As for the other players, the camp counselors in the game are trying to survive for most of the chapters and trying to reach the win condition of each chapter. However, they can also win the chapter if they figure out where the murderer is hiding and pass through him on the game board. But just like any serial killer, they always come back to the next chapter. In the final chapter, there is a predestined character, and that is the only character that can finish off the murderer for good. This game actually plays 2 to 4 players, and I recommend playing it at 4, as I feel like it plays best at 4 players. Now when I made this list, I didn't really make it in any particular order, but these last 2 games are probably one of my favorites. This is Horrified. This is a great monster game for 1 to 5 players. It is very cooperative, where the players are trying to work together against the monsters that are invading the town. Each monster is unique and they require different strategies and tactics in order to be defeated. The player characters also have different abilities that can be used in the game. You must stop the monsters from causing terror in the town. There are different difficulties in this game. You can adjust this by adding more monsters to the game. Horrified is a great family game and I highly recommend it. There's a new version actually being released. It is called Horrified American Monsters. So make sure to check out what version you would prefer. In my opinion, both are great games. Now my number 1 horror game has to be Nemesis. This is a fantastic sci-fi survival game that plays 1 to 5 players. It is a semi-cooperative game where you and your crewmates must survive on a spaceship, infested with a hostile organism. There's beautiful miniatures, high fear, and a great theme. Because it is a semi-cooperative game, players do need to work together in order to kind of fix the ship and complete their objectives, or if there's an alien in the way, they might just want to sacrifice their friend in order to win the game. Now this is probably the highest cost game on my list, and overall it is a little bit complex for the average gamer, but it's actually a lot of fun. I'm a huge fan of the Alien movies, so this game is a great fit if you like those movies too. Now there's another game I want to mention, and that's by Upper Deck, Legendary Encounters. Now it fits the same theme as Aliens, but it's a lighter version with deck building. It is cooperative up until the point where a face hugger comes out and you get turned into the alien. Hope you guys enjoyed the list. Check out these 2 videos here, as I'm sure you guys would enjoy them too. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.